Hey, welcome everybody to KBAP 88.1 FM's Thursday morning pre-recorded broadcast. My name's Tony Hammack. For me, it's the 17th. Is today St. Patrick's Day? Is that what we're doing today?
It is.
Okay, I got my green on, so I'm good. I didn't notice. I didn't remember it was St. Patrick's Day.
I don't have any green. Is that green? It looks gray
it's got
to me.
Some gray, green,
well,
grayish green.
Yeah, well, I'm going to call it gray.
Yeah, okay. All right, so... Anyway, I better change clothes later. But anyway, welcome to the program. If you're listening on YouTube, man, thanks for joining us. I do a lot of content. I try to put out content that I think is valuable. I'm a Christian minister of the gospel, and I try to keep my content centered and focused on the Word of God. But I also have an eye on the eastern sky. You know, I'm looking into the Middle East. I'm looking to the news. You know, I'm paying attention to what's going on around me. And I have thoughts and ideas about those things as well. So there'll be a little bit of maybe real world stuff that we talk about here too. I'm here with my good friend Lonnie, the Big Man Biggers. We were talking about forming a think tank a minute ago. So watch out. You know, we may be coming up with some crazy ideas. We'll see how that pans out. But anyway, Lonnie started his working career with the FBI, didn't you? You moved off to Washington, D.C., and we're working in their, was it fraud division or something?
No, I was working in the fingerprint division.
Okay, so you were analyzing fingerprints?
Well, I unfortunately, I was stuck in the dead files.
Oh.
Let me just explain that for just a moment here.
Yeah.
The dead files are the files where the prints that are there are supposed to be from dead people. In other words, those people are supposed to be dead. They might not be from dead people, but those people are supposed to be dead. But the thrill of victory, so to speak, was every now and then you would get a print in and you search it through the dead files and you find that they're in the dead files, and here you just got a print in, so they're obviously not dead.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was always a thrill when you can match up a dead person supposed to be. Well, in some cases they were, but these are all kind of file. These, for instance, excuse me, if you are an employer and you can take the prints to the people you're thinking about hiring for a job and send them in and see if they have a criminal record. Yeah. So you get a lot of that too. And I know when I was applying for the job at the FBI, I was fingerprinted. So my prints have been on file since that's the first time I was ever fingerprinted. Yeah. But anyway, so employers are sometimes, they want to know about the people that they're hiring. Now, I'm sure that's not like I worked at Arkansas Lime out here for several years too. I mean, they didn't do us any fingerprinting, and it wasn't that important that whether, as a matter of fact, I'm sure they had some criminals out there.
Yeah.
I know of one that was actually pardoned, and I believe it was, let's see, I'm trying to think of the governor who pardoned him. It was a drug, it was a minor kind of a thing, but he did have a criminal history, so.
Hey, let's bring up Bryan Norris for just a minute.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I wanted to talk about that too before we get into this message, but Bryan Norris is a retired Army combat veteran, and I can't remember if he's a first sergeant or master sergeant, but he was like one of the highest levels in the enlisted ranks.
Yeah.
Charlie Fuqua mentions that he's got a master's degree in computer science, so this guy is a sharp guy. He's a member of the Catholic Church. He seems to be very happily married. His daughters are just amazing. If you ever go to his house, his daughters will be like, "Would you like a cookie? Would you like something? Would you like a cup of coffee and a cookie?" Yeah, I was like, "Man, am I in heaven? Man, who does that? How amazing, Yeah. But anyway, I really like Bryan. I've been around Bryan some, and he had a big event scheduled at our local college here in Batesville, the state school, and with 2 hours before the event started, they canceled it.
Is this UACCB?
Yeah, it's our local community college. And I don't know the total calculus on all that, like why that decision was made, but I didn't really like it. I wish they would have told him 2 weeks ahead of time. I mean, there was a guy, Josh, over there setting up things for the event when they said, "You can't do that here." So I noticed that the man that's running against Bryan is a guy, I think his name's Kim Hammer.
Hammer, it is.
And he's received the endorsement of Sarah Huckabee Sanders and my friend Leslie Rutledge and other people that are in established. Tom Cotton,
they are established people. That's what it is.
Tom Cotton has endorsed him. And it's interesting to me because I'm on Facebook sometimes, and there'll be a post that says, "Hey, all these people have endorsed Kim Hammer," and I'm like, "Oh man, that's looking bad for Bryan," So then I look at all the comments, and all the comments say, "Well, I'll be voting for the other guy."
Yeah, I put a comment on that. I did on one of them, and I said, "Well, it won't be me who votes for him." I said, "I'm voting for Bryan Norris." So I was one of those that did comment.
Almost every comment was like, "Well, then that means I'll vote for the other guy."
Yeah. See, so people don't like establishment. So
it was amazing to me. And then I know Jan Morgan chimed in. Jan Morgan.
Yeah, I know who she is.
She was running for governor against Asa Hutchinson, I think, in the Republican primary, and then she endorsed Bryan. She made national news with, I think she had a gun shop or a gun store.
She does.
And the ATF came in and said, "Hey, if you don't feel good about selling something to somebody, you think they're going to go do something, don't sell them the gun. You can use your own judgment." She's like, "Oh, okay." So then I think she put up a sign, "I don't sell guns to Muslims," And man, everybody went crazy. They went crazy about that.
Well, it's a good reason.
Well, yeah, she thought they had a mandate to take down the U.S. government, in a holy war. So she was like, "Well, I'm not selling guns to Muslims. They've got a Dominion mandate to take over the world and fly the black flag of Islam over the White House. So I'm not selling them any guns. Forget that."
Well, you got to admire that lady. She's spunky.
I like her too. I really, she came and spoke down here at the
Republican
fairgrounds down here, right below the studio, and I was really impressed with her. The way she spoke, and she seemed really confident, very natural. The things she was saying, and then she was very factual. Which the Republican Party tends to be more factual, So I was excited to hear her speak and share. But anyway, so I want to just kind of let people know what happened with the thing at the college. I don't know why they did that to him. There's rumors going around, different things, but I can't confirm any of those rumors. But I would just say, when you go to the polls to vote in this runoff election, strongly consider.
That's the 13th. No, not the 13th. That's already passed. What is the 23rd? Is it the day of the?
Yeah, people have to do their own research on that. But,
it's coming up in March, the latter part of March, I think.
But Bryan really pushed to have signatures to get on the ballot. The idea for people to have the choice: do you want paper ballots or do you want computer voting? Do you want a computer in the equation? And the citizens voted
to have paper
ballots. Yeah. And now there's a lot of, I don't know if I should call it obstructionism. There's a lot of
I think that definition fits.
People don't, people in power don't seem to want paper ballots. So I'm not sure what their calculus is. I mean, I can guess, but all I know is the people have voted, we want paper ballots, and then the established power base says, we're going to fight that.
Well, and part of their reasoning is they've already spent a whole lot of money to get all these machines.
Yeah. And, the good news is they won't have to spend any money maintaining them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
They've already spent it.
Yeah, they've already spent the money. That's true. And I was in on a paper ballot counting. Yeah. This was years ago. This was in '84 when Ronald Reagan was running for his second term. Yeah. And I know I worked hard for him that year out at the fairgrounds. I was out putting bumper stickers. I'd ask these people if I could put a bumper sticker on their car, which had usually always want to know. I ran on this one guy. He had this big station wagon. Yeah. And I mean, man, it looked like the Walton Family Plus coming out of that car. But anyway, I asked him, ask him if he mind if I put a sticker on his car for president. And he says, well, who is it? I said, Ronald Reagan. He says, who's that? I thought, okay, I think he's from way back in the sticks. Yeah. But anyway, I worked really hard to try. Of course, it was pretty obvious if you followed the polls that Ronald Reagan was going to I forget who was his opponent that year, Mondale or it was Mondale. It was, yes. Jimmy Carter's vice president.
Was he the guy that was in the tank? They had that video thing with him driving.
No, that was Dukakis. Oh, yeah. That was years before. That was it. He was running against George W. Bush. Dukakis was. He looked like a total gook.
That didn't work out so good.
I didn't mean to say that word, but anyway, he looked just as stupid as he could be, and that was kind of I don't know what he was trying to prove, that he was bad. I mean, guy. I can drive a tank. He probably wasn't driving it anyway, but anyway, and paper ballots, though, to get back where I was going with this, I was involved in counting those that year, and I mean, of course, it's different now. There's more voters here in Independence County, I'm sure, than there was in '84. But I mean, we managed to get done by midnight. 4 people counted all those ballots. Separate them out in groups. If anybody, you had 2 Democrats and I think there was 5. There was another person there as well, just kind of overseeing the thing. And anyway, you had 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and you would count a stack, and then they would count the same stack. And if you came up with the same number of votes, the right number of votes for each candidate, then okay, that one's done. Here's the count on it. Yeah. And then you do another one. If you had a different count, though, then you had to go back and recount it again. But it was a pretty efficient system and worked just fine.
And I mean, the cost, too, I think, a number 2
We
pencil.
were volunteers, by the way. We didn't charge them anything.
Yeah, I think a number 2 pencil is a lot cheaper than a computer. People gripe about the cost of, the counting. And I think it was White County that in Arkansas that went to paper ballots, and they've done cost analysis. I may have my county wrong.
Searcy.
Is it Searcy
County? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
I was in a room with Dr. Appel, a voting specialist from the Northeast. I think he's from Massachusetts, some kind of university. And he was talking about it, and the group from Searcy County was there in the meeting, and they were talking about their cost analysis. And their cost analysis as paper was actually lower than the computer voting. Well, they'd done both.
Yeah.
And when they had done the analysis, it wasn't a lot lower, but it was less expensive. So
when we went down and voted, we pushed all the things in on the computer there on the screen.
Yeah.
And then it prints us out a paper ballot anyway, and then we go put the paper ballot in another machine to count them.
Yeah.
So you're still dealing with a paper ballot to some extent. So why don't you just take that paper ballot and let them sit down and fill it out? And then
instead
take
of the computer,
really seriously, you still have a paper ballot here, and it's so you're not saving anything. You're not saying, well, paper costs us a lot of money. Well, okay, you're still spending it. So, and you only need 1 ballot per person, and that's all. That's what you get.
Yeah,
you take 1 ballot over there and fill it out, and you go over here and stick it in another computer
tabulator
that counts it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a modern person, I don't want to go back in time. I don't want to start sending messages with carrier pigeons or anything like that. But when it comes to voting security, I think this is legit. I've been kind of a volunteer IT guy. I was an IT guy over a Christian school. I oversaw 20, 30 computers. I set up computer networks. I ran Cat5 cables. I networked computers to printers. I've built websites. I built a radio station. I do YouTube channels. I do some IT stuff. And I've been around executives from Toyota, actually. And I've been around a guy that was running a municipal government in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And my guy from Toyota and my guy that used to run the municipal government computer system in Cape Girardeau, they both told me there is no such thing as internet security. It's a joke. My guy that was in Toyota, I don't want to say his name, but I know his name. He told me he had a team of hackers that he employed to basically hack into their computer network and then patch it. And they just tried to stay ahead of the hackers. They had a hack and patch system. I don't really understand the mechanics of how that worked, but I can visualize it. You've got like a wall with 10,000 holes in it. And the hackers are looking for those holes. Found one, patch it. Found another one, patch it. And so there's hackers out there that are looking for the same holes.
Sure.
And if you hack and patch faster than they can hack, but I got news for you. If somebody wants to hack you, they're going to hack you.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's why that there is no total complete security.
Cape Girardeau got hacked by a group out of Turkey.
Yeah,
there were the country. There were a group of people, hackers in Turkey, that hacked into the Cape Girardeau government. Computer system.
People can hack into your here. You see it all the time on Facebook. Somebody will say, "I got hacked." They're sending out friend requests, so they got hacked as well.
Yeah,
somebody did
somehow. Yeah, they either fished out their password somehow, or they did
some way they got into their system. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, computer. Everyone's and I like computers. I'm not against computers.
Yeah, I know you do.
But I also think, hey, if we've got an opportunity, it's like it's like the terrorists. They don't use cell phones. Why don't terrorists use cell phones?
Well,
because you can geolocate them and blow them to smithereens.
That's right. And if you're the Israelis, you can blow a lot of them up at one time.
The pagers, that was a little bit different. But
I know, but it was still a great deal.
They hacked into their pagers. Yeah. So anyway, to me, like I said, I use technology a lot, but when it comes to voting, there's no way to know for sure if there's a computer in the equation if this vote is legitimate. And I'd like to think there's never been a case of voter fraud with a computer. I'm an idealist, honestly. Yeah. I'm an optimist by nature. I believe in people. I believe in things. I'm hopeful. I'm not super skeptical. I don't walk around with a real jaded edge to my perception on life and reality. But nevertheless, I still realize there's a lot at stake.
Yeah, there is.
And if you can change the outcomes of an election and stay in power, there's a lot of incentive to do that. And if you have the means to do it, people just might do it.
Yeah, well, I just read a thing that Maduro supposedly said that they knew who won the election before we knew who won the election. Now, how he knew, I don't know, or if he did, I mean, that may be propaganda too. I'm not sure.
Well, he may be trying to marginalize the opinions of the American people against their government.
Well, that's true too.
You know what I mean? Yeah, overthrow your own government. Why are you overthrowing mine?
Well, I wonder how. I think the guy, just to say this about him, I think he's going to spend the rest of his life in an American jail. He'll eat pretty well, I'm sure, but still, I don't think he's going to go back to Venezuela anytime soon. Well, I say that, but you never know who's going to be the next president who may write him a pardon and send him on his way. This is one of our situations here in this country.
Well, if the American people vote for that guy, that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And the country tends to steer left, then steer right, then steer left, then steer right.
They tend to do that.
That's what because you and I are going to vote right almost without question.
Well, we're not going to ever vote wrong, are we?
No. But there are these indecision people. Well, I don't know what I want to vote for. Yeah. Those are the people that decide.
Yeah, they do.
In the swing states,
those are the so-called independents that they're.
Yeah. The undecided voters are the ones who decide the elections.
Yeah, I got a friend who he wouldn't vote for Trump for anything, but he hoped Trump won the last election. He says, "Well, I hope he wins, but I'm not voting for him." I'm thinking, well, I hope he wins, but I'm voting for him. So
that's strange. Why would he vote for him?
That is, why I think he does. This is why I think he did it. I think he did it so that if he gets into one of these discussions about it, well, I didn't vote for the guy. He can always deny any. He may secretly. I'm sure he did hope. Because we discussed it. I mean, I talked to him a little bit about it, so I know. Yeah. I mean, he was totally against Kamala Harris. Yeah. But he votes for, usually, if he can, a libertarian, which he believes, he fancies himself as a libertarian, and that's fine. I mean, I have some libertarian tendencies too.
Yeah, every conservative does.
Yeah, I think so.
The difference to me between a conservative and a libertarian. As a conservative believes there should be certain laws on the books to constrain what they judge as bad human behavior, where a libertarian says no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Bring on the prostitutes, whatever they want to do.
Drugs, prostitution.
Anything. That's right. Anything goes.
Hey, you're free.
Yeah.
You want to do that, you go right ahead. You want to destroy your life, you want to destroy your family, you go right ahead. We're not even going to pump the brakes. We're going to let you race down that hill as fast as you want.
But then we're going to take care of their family, aren't we? That's what we're going to have to do if we don't have some restraints.
Well, it depends. It depends how far that libertarian thing goes. It could be like, you're free to starve to death.
Yeah. Well, that's good. If
you're free. You're free. If you can't figure out how to, get ends to meet, we'll miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far libertarians go with that. Yeah. And I don't know if they got the liberal, we'll take care of you because you destroyed your life. I don't know.
Well, they're doing. I mean, that's a prevalent thing right now. I've got relatives who are being fed by the government. Yeah. Because they ruined their lives with drugs. Well, I'm thinking, hey, don't do that. I'm not saying don't do the drugs. Don't take care of the idiot. I mean, if he's that crazy, then let him go out here and live in a dump because he brought it on himself. He knew the consequences of his actions. I'm going. I know it is. Yeah, it's my relative though.
Yeah, it's your relatives. I'm glad I'm not your relative, man. It's tough. That's tough.
Well, I just don't. I don't understand why we should.
Well, I
take care of these people.
Well,
then there's millions of them.
Think about this though. Sun Tzu wrote the book The Art of War. Yeah. And one of the theses of the book is, don't go to war with your enemy. Get your enemy to destroy himself from within.
Yeah.
So the Chinese are distributing the raw materials to the Mexican drug cartel to make fentanyl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last time I checked, more people have died from fentanyl, just fentanyl overdoses, than all wars in America combined, minus the Civil War. If you take the Civil War out of the war equation, the body count is so morbid, but if you take the number of people who died in the Civil War out, more people have died from fentanyl than World War I, World War II, Revolutionary War, Korean War, Vietnam War. I mean, that's a lot of dying. So, to me, I have a little bit of compassion for people who have walked into that drug world and been captured. They've been hooked by dopamine or some other neurotransmitter that's been elevated by this artificial drug, the street drug. So, but at the same time, I understand your point. You kind of make a bed, you got to lie in it.
Yeah. Well, here's my point is this. I mean, this kid is off drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. Been off drugs for quite a while now. So, I mean, why are we continuing to take care of him? This is my big thing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's capable of doing work because he does some work. I mean, he's not like he's employed or anything.
Yeah.
But I know he does work, so he's capable of doing a job.
Yeah.
And so let's end this though at some point in time. If he's rehabbed.
Yeah.
And he's
cut off the disability check.
Yeah. I mean, why can't we do that? I mean,
Well, I think we can.
Well, good.
I'm with you on that.
All right, so I'm not as bad off as
you're not.
I kind of laugh at myself sometimes.
You were kind of mean about it a minute ago. Now you're.
Well, yeah. Well,
you're a lot more sensible now than you were.
I am kind of mean about it too, I guess, because I just look. They're just. I think yesterday Trump, or might have been today, but I think he signed an executive order establishing the fraud department. It's going to be headed by the vice president, J.D. Vance. Okay, so now we've got somebody who can root out. I mean, we gave the Somalians $9 billion or more. Yeah. It's an unbelievable amount of money. They were driving Mercedes and BMWs and eating at the finest restaurants and everything at our expense, I might add.
Well, yeah.
And now we're just doing nothing about those people that I can see. I haven't heard of anyone yet who's gone to jail for this.
Yeah.
They say they have, but I haven't seen anybody's name written down. This guy's in jail now because he stole $1 billion from the United Government. He will be out next month. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm pretty hard nosed. I really am too about a lot of things. And then I do have a heart though. I do. I sometimes I stop and think about sometimes the things that I say and do. And yeah, I know I do have a heart, but the fact of the matter is I get so sick of just this never ending one program on top of another program on top of another program, and you never go back and examine the program to start with to see if it's still necessary anymore. That's where I hope the fraud that we recognize.
Well, what about Elon Musk's group? That swept in there, and then he and Trump, I guess, had a bit of a falling out. But what was that called?
That was the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah,
he named it after his cryptocurrency.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought of whenever. That's how I remembered it by the cryptocurrency. But
that seemed to really root out some stuff.
Yeah, he really did. Several $1 billion. So I'm guessing at this point that Vance is going to take this over now. And well, here's a good reason to put him in charge of this. Vance can meet muster, so to speak, or he cannot meet muster. We'll have a better decision on our voting next time. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me ask you this: who's the next Republican nominee? Is it going to be Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance? Who do you think?
Well, I tell you, there's going to be. This is what I think is going to happen. I think the guy Sununu from New Hampshire is going to be in the running. The governor up there, Chris Sununu, his dad was a governor, and so and now he's appearing on Fox News more often, and so they want to get their picture out there, sure. So anyway, he's going to be running. I believe that Vance will run, and I believe that I hope Cruz doesn't run, because I like Cruz as a person, but I don't think I want him for president. I like the governor of Florida.
You know who Ted Cruz always reminds me of?
Well,
Grandpa from the Munsters.
That's pretty funny.
You ever seen that?
No, I don't think I've seen the Munsters ever, but I may have.
Oh, man, it's hilarious.
Oh, the Munsters.
The old show from the 70s.
Yeah. The Addams Family. Is that the one?
No, it's the Munsters. It was kind of a spin-off of the Addams Family. Okay. But it had that old T-Bird at that little car they have with, it's like I forgot what they call those cars, T-Bucket.
T-Bucket,
T-Bucket car. It's cool, right. Man. Super cool car. Yeah. But Grandpa, he looks just like him.
I think you're right. I think,
it is something. It's really funny,
Well, I don't like Cruz. Brilliant mind. Matter of fact, one of his instructors said that he was the smartest law student he ever had, and that he is such a super intelligent guy. But intelligence doesn't always win, and I like DeSantis, actually. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
And I have grown to like Marco Rubio a whole lot more than I have thought. He's very I'm telling the guy is good. He's good on his feet, you know what I mean? He's
in the moment.
Yeah.
He really shines in the moment.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And he tells it like it is, but I don't think he's really trying to stomp any toes like I do. I stomp toes on my way.
He's a little more compassionate about it.
More compassionate guy, yeah. So I do, but I do think Chris Sununu is going to try to make a run for it, and I wouldn't vote for him.
The problem with all these guys? They've all run against Trump, except this Sununu guy. And Trump just eviscerates you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the little sayings. I remember all the sayings about these guys.
Yeah.
It's hard to shake that stuff off, because it gets in people's minds.
Yeah.
That's like the Ted Cruz thing, being like Grandpa and the Munsters. I think. And then Marco Rubio, he had names for him. And I don't know. I just
but you know what? What is good is they've all made up.
Well, yeah,
made up on the deal.
I mean, it's like what do they say? Politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
Oh yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
No, I haven't, but that's a good saying.
Who's the guy that I'll think of the guy's name that said that? Politics is Hollywood for ugly people. He's Italian. I'll think of his name here in a minute. He does a paper called the Trends Journal, where he prognosticates the future based on current events. Gerald Celente is the guy's name. I haven't paid any attention to Gerald Celente in over 10 years, but I used to listen to everything that guy said. I was fascinated by that guy because he would basically predict the future.
Well, if we don't pay attention to history, and I'm sure that's what he's taking, he's looking at
that's part of his calculus is what happens. So I mean, he would make an illustration like, okay, we have drones flying over Pakistan, we're shooting missiles into Pakistan, and we kill quote unquote terrorists, and there's collateral damage. How do those people feel about the United States?
Yeah.
So he would predict, there'll be a Pakistani that rises up with a suitcase full of bombs that blows up something in America over that.
Yeah.
So like the things he would say when he laid it out like that would make sense. It makes perfect sense. But then there were a lot of cause and effect relationships he seemed to have a pretty good grip on that. Like I said, it was just fascinating to listen to him. And I started to understand the difference between prophecy and prognostication.
Yeah.
Prognostication is just natural knowledge.
Right.
You're just taking natural knowledge. You're watching what's happening. You know how this stuff makes people feel.
And you're drawing conclusions.
Well, it's like, will there be a terrorist attack on U.S. soil from a person that's sympathetic to the Iranian Ayatollahs, for example?
Sure there will.
Well, there really could be now. I think there's a lot of people that could. Yeah. There's already been some shootings. Yeah. There's been some things. A mosque or not a mosque. A
guy ran a truck in a synagogue
or something. Yeah,
it was. His brother, by the way, is the commander of the Hezbollah.
Okay. Yeah. So that, you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff Gerald would do. He would say, "Well, hey, you push this button. This is what comes out the other end of the factory." And he, like I said, anyway, he was the one that said politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
Well, I can see that because it is a popularity contest in many ways.
Yeah, you got to get the vote.
Yeah, you got to get the vote.
What's the guy, Skeletor? Remember that guy? He was Bill Clinton's campaign advisor.
Skeletor. You're talking about
Carville. Was that his name?
Carville. Yeah.
Carville. Yeah. He said,
James Carville.
He said, it turns out if you get the most votes, you win the election.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
We were worried about everything but the votes.
There was a question about him or about his saying, "It's the economy, stupid," that he coined in that. Yeah. And it was one on Jeopardy yesterday about him or about it. Who did that? In other words, who said that? A little 4-word catchphrase. But and you know what? That's what it usually always boils down to. If the economy is good, right now Trump's got a little bit of a problem though on his hands with gas prices. I mean, I saw where diesel right here at Duggars. Well, it used to be Duggars. It's not Duggars anymore. I forgot.
I think they kept the name.
No, he changed it to West Side something grocery. West Side.
Okay.
Yeah, West Side Street. Anyway, the reason I know that is because I was writing doing a check for him one day, and I wrote Duggars on it, and he said, "We're not Duggars anymore." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know you changed the name."
I was in there yesterday.
So anyway, did you write him a check?
No, I haven't read. I write one check a year, and it goes to two. One goes to the Arkansas,
and the other
goes to the IRS.
Yeah,
I write 2 checks a year.
Okay, but anyway, diesel was $4.49 a gallon, I think. So now that's going to drive the cost of everything else up.
Yeah.
Diesel goes up. All these trucks are on diesel, that deliver your goods from one state to the next. So, so anyway, if he doesn't get control of that before this fall's elections, and of course everybody, and you know what's going to happen if you drop a bomb anywhere, then the whatever, how much noise the bomb makes is how high the price goes on everything. And especially if it's in the Middle East, because that's the oil capital of the world, has been for years.
They say the Strait of Hormuz is where 20 to 30% of the world's oil comes from.
Yeah.
And 80% of that oil goes to Asia.
Yeah.
And 20% goes to Europe.
Yeah. So you got.
So why are our oil prices going up?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's profiteering.
Well, I'm sure that.
That's price fixing and profiteering, which is a crime. You're not supposed to do that.
It's a commodity, right? Oil is a commodity, so it's on the world market. So you see that this is happening, and it all becomes. Whether you're getting all of your oil from the United States of America or not, it's going to automatically go up because that oil will be shipped to other places. So it's going to drive our cost up. No matter, it's a world market, and it's a commodity, and it's a consumable commodity.
Well, you know what's interesting? We were talking about silver off the air, but I was checking the price of silver last night in Shanghai. It's 12% higher in Shanghai, China, than it is in New York.
Well, they buy up an awful lot of silver, and it's because they use it in a lot of their technology, because they do a lot of it. Yeah. That's one of the reasons that I would not I didn't want to put solar panels on my house. I told the guy, I'm not buying that Chinese junk and put on my house. I don't care if it saves me money. I'm not doing it. I mean, I'm a little bit bullheaded and stubborn.
You ever shop at Walmart?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sorry.
But as little as, I know I do. But, there's some things you can't buy. You can't. Sometimes there's some things if you're going to have some clothes, well, wear clothes. You're probably going to have some.
Yeah, I think
Taiwanese.
Apple has factories in China.
I'm sure they do.
I don't know about Samsung. I think they're a South Korean company.
They are.
But I think Apple uses Chinese labor.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but.
Yeah, well, Chinese.
Ricky Gervais seems to think that they are.
Who?
Ricky Gervais. He's a pretty crass comedian, actor guy.
Oh yeah.
He likes to talk pretty straight to the Hollywood elites about their duplicity.
Yeah, well, they need some straight talk.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah,
I can take it.
Yeah, well, I can too. And but anyway, we started this by mentioning Bryan Norris.
Yeah.
We sort of got off onto the political end of it. But
hey, I got a joke for you about Bryan Norris.
Okay. Well, I'd like to hear
it. They say Satan looks under his bed for Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah, I have.
He's looking under his bed for Chuck Norris. I said, I think Chuck Norris is looking under his bed for Bryan Norris.
That's pretty good.
Bryan Norris is one of the he's a very kind man, but, I mean, at his core, he's capable of some serious danger.
Oh yeah,
which I respect that.
Yeah,
in a man, I think a guy's got to be capable of danger. He's got to be capable of inflicting harm, or he's what is he? He's soft. He's not a mean person. He's not a mad person. He's not a violent person. But he could be.
And he's been in those violent situations, I'm sure.
Most violent.
Yeah.
He told me a story about, you remember the Charlie Hebdo massacre? Charlie Hebdo was a crass French newspaper. And they would make fun of Jesus.
Yeah.
And they drew a cartoon of Muhammad.
Yes, I do.
Saying, stop killing people, we've run out of virgins.
Yeah.
And the Muslim people didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a law, I think, in the Quran or the Hadiths that says don't draw any pictures of Muhammad.
Yeah.
Which Muhammad probably put there because he was a wanted man, and they didn't want any wanted posters, So it was against Islamic law for there to be a picture of Muhammad. So these guys, these French cartoonists, they draw pictures of Muhammad making fun of Islam.
Yeah.
Well, the local population, and I don't know, these guys may have come from some distance. They came in there with rifles and shot those cartoonists, killed them, in cold blood in their office over the cartoon. So the French special forces responded, and Bryan was stationed. I don't know if he was in Germany or where he was, but somehow he got on a helicopter and flew in to the building with the French special forces and was holding, I think he was holding, I wish he was here to tell the story himself, but I think he was holding a French rifle and with his American flag on his uniform. And there was a picture, and the colonel, I think it was a colonel back at his base, saw him, and he started to kind of get in trouble. So he was part of the mission to get the Muslims out of, he roped in to, clear this building, basically.
Okay.
Which a lot of guys aren't doing that kind of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of guys are like, hey, I'm going to throw a ball today, or, I'm going to type on my typewriter today, Anyway, so he's a warrior, no doubt about it. And I think he volunteered to do that. Like he didn't, I don't think he had to do that. I think he just, of his own free will, wanted to be a part of the solution to this problem. So he said he was going back to his base, and forgive me for not remembering where the base was, but he was riding trains and getting back after the they clear the building, and his colonel is upset with him. What are you doing? Why are you out here doing this? What were you thinking? And those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there was some more colorful language. Anyway, he gets back and he's standing in front of and again, forgive me if the rank isn't right, but I think it was a colonel. He's standing in front of the colonel, and the colonel's dressing him down for what he did. The phone rings, and it's a general. It says, is Norris there? Yeah. Tell him way to support the Allies. Well, next time I come, I'm giving him a coin. He's gonna award him.
Yeah.
So the colonel now is like, oh, great.
Yeah. Well, how badly can you be deflated?
Yeah, the general liked what he did. Where the colonel didn't seem to think he should have been doing that. But anyway, that's just the kind of guy he is. And like he's like me. He's not a perfect man. Bryan Norris has flaws, no doubt. Kim Hammer has flaws too.
Yeah, we just don't know about him.
Well, maybe we do. I don't know.
I don't know anything about him.
But I would. I mean, as far as men go, I don't know of a guy tougher than Bryan Norris.
Yeah,
personally. Now there may be guys out there.
I'm sure there are
Delta
some
guys and SEALs and the Green Berets and all that. But hey, man, I'll take a guy like Bryan Norris any day.
Yeah. Yeah,
what? If he has a problem with you, he'll tell you. He's gonna look you in the eye. He's not gonna stab you in the back. He's a straight guy. I mean, he's a straight.
Yeah, I got that impression from him and I was only here with him one time here at the studio. He was with us,
Yeah.
And actually, we were doing it in the dining area that time.
He's giving them fits though. I mean, he's
Well,
he's kind of like Colonel Bice. Remember Colonel Don Bice?
Yeah,
he was like that too. And here's the thing, I think, and I don't know. Forgive me if I misspeak here, but it seems like when guys roll out of the military, they still have some fight left in them. You know what I mean? Like they're trained to fight.
Yeah.
And when they come out, they're still trained to fight. But the fight isn't with bullets and bombs and rifles and artillery, and it's a battle of words. It's a battle of ideas.
Yeah.
And so these guys who come out, some of them are still wired to confront the enemy.
Let me tell you one of the biggest things that I have, or that he has in his favor, as far as I'm concerned. I'm talking about Bryan Norris. This is the way I view him. Okay, this other guy, Kim Hammer, is a state senator right now. Okay, so here's the way I compare the two of them. He's a state senator, and he's thinking that he can move out of that position to a better position over here. Secretary of State is the office he's running for. Okay, then he's going to look at another office. If he's a lawyer, he's probably going to look at an attorney general. Then they're going to look at a lieutenant governor, and then they're going to look at governor. And see, all they're thinking about is just going from one position to a better position to a better position, and so that in the end they can draw a nice fat retirement off of the state of Arkansas and be done with it. Bryan Norris is on a mission for one purpose, and that's to clean up the election process in the state of Arkansas if he can do it.
I think you're right.
Now that's the difference I see in those two people. That's my vision of where they're headed, because they're never satisfied.
And let me say this too about your theory about Kim Hammer. I don't have a problem with the guy who wants a promotion. I don't have a problem with the guy who's ambitious. I don't have a problem with the guy that wants to improve his lot in life. Yeah. I mean, this is America.
Yeah.
This isn't communist China. Or India. You're in some kind of caste system. You can never. We have what people call, this is the American dream. We have upward social mobility. But if his calculus for what he's doing is himself and not the people, then that becomes problematic for the people.
All right. See, that's my problem with him.
You know what I mean?
That's what
if that is exactly what he's doing, if he's 80% himself and 20% for the people, and Norris is 90% for the people, 10% for himself, Norris is the guy you want, because
I think he is,
because his calculus is better.
He's looking out for look. When we first discussed that,
when he was fighting those Muslim guys in Paris, why was he doing that?
Yeah, well,
it wasn't for himself.
No, it wasn't.
He could have got killed.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know what that is? The situation with a lot of our military, isn't it? They're not doing this for themselves.
Well, there's no draft.
No, that's right.
Every one of those guys is a volunteer.
That's right. And you know what else is good about that whole system right now? There aren't any men in dresses. all the men in dresses. They're out now. I mean, come on. I gotta say.
Yeah, that was crazy with Biden, man.
Oh, everything.
Who was the guy that it was a transgender man that was like
he was like the Surgeon General, wasn't he?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
so weird, man.
I mean, he was ugly as a man. He was twice as ugly as a woman. You know, but guy just didn't stand up. I mean, and he walked around in high heels to boot. Come on, give me a break here. This is what's you know. I just finished the book. As a matter of fact, I finished it this morning. The last few pages on the John Kennedy, that's now the U.S. Senator from Louisiana, and he wrote this book, How to Test for Stupid, that's not all of it, but anyway, how to test negative for stupid. That's the title of the book, and I'm telling you, it was humorous, it was to the point. I mean, it was just like, man, it was this guy is a super person. I mean, he is really
John Kennedy,
and but he was talking about his people that he had worked for in the government there in Louisiana and how he got to be a senator. But anyway, I recommend that people go ahead and buy his book and read it, because it's if you're a common sense person, then you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
If you're a woke snowflake, you'll hate him and hate the book, and you'll probably throw it away. You won't want to read it.
Have you heard of Matt Walsh?
Matt Walsh.
Yeah, he started working for the Daily Wire, but he did a documentary called "What Is a Woman?" And
I don't know.
And he went around to different events where women were marching for women's values.
Yeah.
And he would approach a group of women or individual women in different capacities and say, "Hey, can you tell me what a woman is?"
Yeah.
And man, it was just like he stumped them. You know, they couldn't answer. And so the narrative becomes, well, the definition, gender is a societal construct. That's what the left says. Gender is not a biological reality. It's a societal construct.
Well, that's stupid.
And it's constructed by a white male patriarchy. So white males are the worst of the worst, according to this ideology. So, which is very racist, by the way. It's just racist against white and misogynistic, because it's racist against white men.
Yeah.
It's race-based and it's gender-based. So what Walsh does is he goes to Africa, and he goes to this African tribe, which is not white, by the way, and he asks them, "Hey, you know, we got a bad idea about gender in the United States from white men. Can you black guys clear it up for us? Can you tell us what is a woman?" And this guy's like, "Is he serious? Like what?" And then they answer the question. Yeah. And there's some people in the documentary. It's Matt Walsh. He's got another documentary out too that's been I think it's more on race. It's more of a racial thing. But I really appreciate Matt Walsh, and what he did, because he's talking to a transgender man in the streets, and he's like, "Hey, what is a woman?" He said, "You can't tell me what a woman is. You can't define it." He's like, "You know what a cat is? Can you tell me what a cat is?" The guy just walks away. He's so frustrated.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get a kick out of Matt Walsh, and I don't know, I think he's a sharp guy.
Let's look at another thing that happened under the Biden administration is the lady,
Ketanji Jackson.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, or Jackson Brown, isn't it? Ketanji Jackson Brown. I think that's her. Anyway.
Jackson Brown's a musician. It's the other way around.
Okay, well, okay. Yeah. Well, all right. So I stand corrected. Whichever way it's supposed to be, I'm good with it.
I think people know who we're talking about, though.
Yeah, she's now on the Supreme Court.
Well, what Biden said was, we're going to nominate a black woman.
That's right. Period. See, already.
Okay. Is she the best candidate?
Well, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, I do know now.
I don't have access to all the candidates. You know what I mean? Where I can make an objective decision.
There's only one.
All I know is whoever she was going to be, she was going to be black. And she was going to be a woman.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if there was an Asian woman that was better. Didn't matter if there was a white woman that was better. Didn't matter if there was a North American Indian woman that was better. Didn't matter if there was a Pakistani woman that was better.
That's right.
Didn't matter if there was a Chinese man that was better. Didn't matter. None of that mattered. All that mattered. The first criteria was
she's got to be black
woman.
And she's got to be a woman. That's and then you find out that even she doesn't know what she really is because she couldn't answer the question. What is a woman? I mean, see, that
can you tell me what a woman is?
Yeah, can you tell me what a woman is?
I don't have a biology degree.
I'm not a biology. I wish you'd have been there so you could have answered it for her. You could have helped her out. You have a biology.
I could have straightened her out on
see, I mean, I don't even have a biology degree, but I think I could have helped her out on that, I mean, just a few simple questions would have answered her question in real hurry, that she just doesn't know what it was. And she even laughed a little bit about how, like kind of like it was a silly question. And what was silly about it was the no answer that we got was the silly. I mean, for goodness sakes, what are we dealing with here?
Well, like I said, if you are on the left and you ideologically accept the fact that gender is a societal construct.
I don't
either.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I think people have their own mind and their own thoughts and their own ideas about what they think they are, but
John Kennedy addressed that.
There's a thing called reality, and there's a thing called fantasy, or you detach from reality. You can think you're a chicken all you want, but you're still not a chicken. You can, what I mean. You can say, you can walk around clucking. You can scratch the ground. You can eat bugs off the ground.
There are people identify as wolves. Or ladies,
they're called furries.
Furries?
They think they're an animal of some kind. They call them furries.
Well, they're an animal mentally. They're an animal. That's goofy to me.
Well,
all right.
I don't know. People go through things, and they can go through trauma, and they can respond to that trauma in strange ways. The human brain can be damaged. But let's call it what it is.
I just simplify it.
It's easy. But see, Jesus said, stop judging by mere appearances and make a right judgment.
That's true.
Make a right judgment. It's easy just to, oh, you dummy. It's easy to slap a label on somebody and just say they're blah, 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 But let's try to solve it. You know what I mean? Like we're smart enough to figure out that guy who thinks he's a chicken, something happened to that guy. Either he's genetically got born with a chicken brain of some kind, or he's had gone through some kind of serious trauma. It's commonly
called a bird brain.
He's got a bird brain.
I'm sorry, but I mean, I know. I'm laughing because to me it's just so ridiculous.
But these are people, though.
I know they're people.
They're real people.
I know they're people.
Kids. There are kids that walking around our schools that think they're a cat.
Oh my God!
I mean,
all right. So let's.
How do you help that kid? Though? I mean, you can laugh at them. You can shove them in a locker, and give them a swirly and all that, and stick their head in the toilet. But I mean, okay. That's that's going to hurt the kid even worse.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, good, good.
I mean, the toilet's out.
Yeah, you're stuffing in a locker though. Huh?
No. I mean, I'm not trying. I'm not going to try to hurt them. I'm not going to try. But I'm. Look. I'm 77, almost 77 years old. I'm not wasting my time trying to figure out some kid who.
But I'm not 77.
I know you're a young man.
But I'm thinking, hey, this is a human being Jesus died for.
Yeah, you're right.
And they're walking around thinking they're a cat. How can I help this kid realize you're not a cat?
Yeah, I don't have that much patience anymore.
Well, I have compassion, especially on young people.
And you know what? I maybe I could even help the person. Maybe I could even try. Maybe I would even try.
But it just seems they may just need a positive role model in their life. You know what I mean? They may just need a positive role model in their life.
Well, now that is a possibility. Yes.
And that could be you. You could be the guy that's like, hey, you want to go fishing? Guys like, well,
you know what? I tell you what, I would even, I think I would do pretty good in that role. Actually, I mean, I know I kind of. I do say some silly off the wall stuff, but the fact of the matter is I do have some compassion for people too.
I know you do,
but I have I just
you come across like a tough guy and all that and grouchy, but you do have a compassionate heart.
Well, don't let that get out too far. I don't want too many people to know they'll take advantage. They'll take advantage of the old man.
Yeah.
But no. I tell you what, I was yesterday. As a matter of fact, I had day before yesterday, Sunday. I sat there and I had some moments, and I forget now what was happening, but I had some thoughts about my parents for one thing. And it kind of brought me down. I was not my usual jovial self, and I was really I really had a depressing particular point there. And it just almost, I just fought back, I fought back tears because I was missing them. And I'm thinking, they've been gone. My mother's been gone for 27 years this year. Well, already. She died 5th of February.
Yeah.
And my dad has been gone for, this will be 59 years that he's been gone. So, but here I am, I'm sitting here, I'm having one of those moments, that you just, every now and then, I have those. And I sit there and I actually, I have to fight back the emotions because, and of course I'm talking about my family, and I always will have compassion on my family, obviously. Yeah. But then I have some other people that I know right now who are having some struggles with learning. And I've tried to help a little bit. And I think I have. So, there's some situations that come up in my life where I feel like I have an obligation. Look, what did Jesus say? He said, to whom much is given, much is required.
That's what he said.
So he's given me a lot.
Yeah.
And I know he's given you a lot. So we need to utilize that lot that we got. That rhymes.
Yeah.
And we need to take that, though, more serious than I am taking it at times. But I think one of the reasons that I have to kind of poke some fun at it, because it's such a serious kind of thing that it can make you cry at the silliness of it all. So if I don't have a little humor, sometimes it just it can get to be overbearing.
To me, it is very serious.
It is. It's too serious.
About people. I mean, I don't. I can't internalize the whole world's problems. I don't have the capacity to do that. And besides that, I have a good friend. He says there's a Holy Spirit and you're not him.
Yeah, that's right.
So God's the Holy Spirit. It's his job to convict, convince, reprove the world in regard to righteousness. And so I try to let the Holy Spirit be the Holy Spirit, and I try to just internalize and deal with the things that I've got to deal with. But I've got people that I know that I think I can help, like you said. And so. It's like the story of the boy with the starfish. There's a bunch of starfish have washed up on the shore, thousands of them, and this boy's out there picking them up and throwing them back in the ocean. This old man comes up to him and says, "What are you doing? You're not making any difference in this whole situation." The little boy picks up a starfish and shows the old man and says, "I'm making a difference in the life of this one." He throws it in the ocean.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I look at the world's problems. I can't solve the war in Ukraine. I can't solve the drug war in Mexico. I can't solve but I can help somebody, and I'm going to.
Yeah.
And I'll be judged by Jesus for what I do with what I have.
Yeah.
And so I want to do well, and I'm not in fear. I'm not afraid of that, but I do realize what I'm doing is I'm going to be held accountable.
Yes, you are. We all are.
Yeah, everyone is.
Yeah.
So I want the works that I do with my life to be meaningful. I don't want it to be burned up at the Bema Seat judgment. I want the works that I do to be gold, silver, and costly stones, so I can bring them into heaven and glorify Jesus with them. But that's just kind of my take on it. I'm curious what our listeners think. We cover a lot of views, a lot of viewpoints, a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this on YouTube, make a comment. I'd like to see your comments, and I'll respond to every comment. I'll make a commitment right now. I'll read every comment that'll come in on this video, which is really going to be an audio file. It'll be probably a still picture. But anyway, thanks for listening today. Lonnie, you want to close us out in prayer? You got any further comments?
No, I think I was it enough.
We covered it.
Yeah. So, all right, Father, we do thank you so much for another day, Father, that you've given us so that we can come here and we can talk about the world events and current events and whatever is going on. And Father, we ask your blessings upon the listeners out there today. And Father, be with each and every one of us and them, and we give you praise, honor, and glory in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.